Hey, Casey for interwebkaiju here. This is a jackalope, and this is my review of The Great Wall.
Matt Damon and his partner are captured at the Great Wall. There, they learn about the Tao Tie and how the Great Wall was actually built to keep the Tao Tie away from the capital and enter in the world. The sets and costumes look great. I like the different animals and colors for the different soldiers. The sound effects are very well done. The score is fine, nothing memorable but also nothing awful, and at times it does complement certain scenes well. The movie is filled with great weapon ideas. The wall itself is equipped with interesting weapons. It has harpoon guns, a group of warriors attached to ropes so they can rappel onto the wall to fend off the monsters. In one scene, part of the wall is lifted up to allow rotating blades to come out and slice through a wave of the Tao Tie. There are arrows with bamboo attached to them so that when they are impaled into a creature you can hear where they are even if your vision is impaired by heavy fog. There are also arrows with explosives attached to them. The soldiers are equipped with wrist lighters that were pretty cool. At one point, primitive air balloons are shown, though most of them are improperly piloted, causing them to burn down. There are also giant drums that are played with nunchucks, which I loved. The best part about this movie are the Tao Tie. The basic Tao Tie have a good design with shoulder eyes that makes them memorable. There is also an armored variant that form a phalanx in one scene. Then there's the Queen, who can communicate with the rest of them through an interesting method. The nature of the Tao Tie is even delved into, explaining that the smaller Tao Tie go and feed, and then give their food to the Queen so that she can reproduce. They are given a weakness through a stone that acts as a magnet and weakens the Tao Tie when within a certain distance. The CG looks good, and in some scenes they are just vicious, chomping away at fallen soldiers. They are constantly mentioned as being intelligent, but this is also shown by them planting traps and ripping out the harpoons embedded in their fellow Tao Tie. There are both interesting camera angles, pans, and some cool 360 shots within the film. There's a very nice variety in different styles that the film is shot in, though there is sometimes an overuse of camera pans. One scene will switch between 3 or 4 different angles, all of which are panning or sweeping. It's a bit nauseating, definitely distracting. None of the characters are really fleshed out or interesting. The most character development is in a Chinese soldier who is clumsy and cowardly, but becomes brave and ultimately sacrifices himself to save the main characters. There's a little bit about self-redemption, but it's more just thrown in as a character backstory instead of actually showing any change in the character. The interactions between Matt Damon's character and the Commander Lin of the Crane Troops is just odd. I'm not going to try to pronounce the actress's name because I don't want to butcher it. At times it seems as if someone within the film crew wanted there to be sort of a forced love connection between the two. I'm glad they didn't go with that route, but its exclusion makes some scenes confusing as they seem to be flirting and having a connection, and then the next scene they're just discussing honor and pride. None of the acting is particularly bad, though I feel like William Dafoe in particular was underutilized, but then again, most of the actors weren't given much to work with. Additionally, Matt Damon's voice seems to change between scenes. Nothing extremely drastic, but enough to be noticeable and to have you think about it instead of focusing on the plot. While the action scenes look great and have some cool set pieces, for some reason they never seem to be too exciting. I don't know if this is due to the lack of concern for the characters or perhaps a bad pacing error. The film is also a bit anticlimactic. While the idea to solve the main conflict isn't awful, it's far from brilliant and suffers from the same lack of excitement that the other action scenes do.
Yeah, it was alright. I'd recommend at least giving it a watch just because the creatures are interesting. I wish the human characters were as fleshed out as the monsters. That was the Great Wall, which apparently includes a free movie that I don't really want, so I'll put the whatever info to redeem that in the description so one of you guys can get it. Thanks for watching.
animals.
Thank you.